Hello and welcome once again to another 5 Minute Friday, which is my ongoing joke. So this week I'm over the moon to introduce you all to Teniko Hassell. Now, Teniko is an ex-colleague and a friend of mine. So Teniko, welcome to 5 Minute Friday. I'm really delighted to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here as well.
Great. So I asked Nico to come on because he's one of the leaders in Black at Compass. So I wanted if you could tell us a little bit more about Black at Compass itself and
Mhm.
how you got involved.
Yeah, so Black at Compass is the affinity group within Compass for our Black agents and staff members. I believe it started in 2018 in New York, because that's where Compass kind of got headquartered. And then it was kind of expanding up until around like 2020. So some things shifted, especially after like the George Floyd um, case, and we had the Let's Talk About Race conversation. So there was a lot more activity around it then. Diversity, equity, inclusion were really big topics at the time. And so we were working, so the group itself was working towards doing more activities. My initial goal was to try to start leading stuff in the Bay Area. And then the person who was the national lead at the time out of New York, she reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, do you want to take over nationally?"
When did
And
that happen?
that was 2021, 2022, 2022. Yeah, that was like September 2022. Or no, was it 21?
It's okay.
It's been at least 2 years now, officially. And so, because she reached out because she was getting ready to leave Compass, we had all rounds of layoffs and stuff that happened, and she wasn't feeling secure about her job, so she ended up saying like, "Hey, I'm just gonna hand this off." I was in the mood. I'm just saying yes to everything, and so that was the reason why I kind of took over. And then, like, she gave me some instructions, but I just kind of winged it.
You just winged it, right?
The one thing that she did tell me to do was to get a teammate. So I got a partner, a co-lead, Ashley Gillen. She's been really helpful as well. But I just started doing what I do best, and it's trying to get people together, try to organize different things. We started out, there was an agent out of Texas who had just joined Compass, and she was like, "I want to do a Black agent referral network." And somebody was like, "Well, you should get in contact with Black at Compass." She's like, "I didn't even know there was a thing."
Oh, wow.
So
And,
from that, so from
and
that conversation, we started doing like monthly referral network calls, which basically we just get the agents together on a monthly call to just kind of talk and, you know, find other people in different markets and just kind of see how things are going where they're at. We started doing, we reached out to our regional leaders and started getting more regional leadership involvement in the different markets. We have regional leads in like the DMV area, New York, South Florida, Tampa, Nashville, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, LA, Seattle, the Bay Area, and then Colorado is the newest one that we're working on. But we just try to get more, activities happening. Since we've been taking over as regional leadership, the group has grown from like maybe 250 people to almost close to 1,000. We do a monthly newsletter where we send out post an email like once a month, just about different things that's going on. And usually have like a sales manager kind of write a little op-ed piece about something. Um, and also we starting to highlight more of our agents there. We did a Black and Luxury Black and Luxury panel during Black History Month, where we live streamed on our Facebook, Instagram, and workplace. We did a couple of Juneteenth fireside chats. We had Robert speak at those. And we've done our biggest culmination was this year. We did our first Black at Compass Summit. So it was a 2-day real estate summit in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Compass Buckhead office. We had about 200 agents or so from around the country kind of come in. There was panels on different things like building your business, being a team leader and what that's like. We had a financial advisor kind of speak on real estate business finance. And then we like just 2 days of like, again, networking and fellowship. Agents from different parts of the country were able to meet with each other. I've seen on Instagram since then, people are, doing business deals and stuff from people that they've met,
Oh,
at that
that's really good.
met through Black Compass. So it's just me trying to empower people and shine more light onto some of our agents of color, because this real estate industry historically has not been one that's
Uh,
friendly to.
but this is what I want to loop back in something you said there. You said you have 1,000 members,
Mhm.
and yet for a company like Compass, who the founder and CEO is actually Black, and Black at Compass has 1,000 people, but Compass has like 30,000 agents, and I'm not sure how many employees.
Mhm.
So you're, I would have thought you'd have a lot more than 1,000. But
Yeah. Well,
tell me about that. Is that just because the real estate market is quite white?
yeah. So statistically, according to NAR, about 5% of realtors in the country are Black. And so, based on the numbers of agents that we have at Compass, we're about like 4% of the population. So we're statistically on average with the country. Um,
Okay,
so it's not like, yes, our numbers could be more, it could be less, um, but also too, a lot of times, like we've seen our numbers kind of go down recently, is because there are a lot more people that are licensed that don't really practice all the way.
right.
People are part time and stuff like that, so that kind of affects it. Um, and when it comes to um, just being in the industry in general, like the usually it's the top 20% that do 80% of the business. So that's across the board.
Yeah,
So like our numbers while they may not be very very high, we still have some like the best agents that are doing it. And so that's what we kind of like still try to highlight. Like, yes, I would love to see more people that look like me in these positions, but we're still doing great work. A lot of the agents are still doing amazing numbers. We kind of did like in a little awards for like the top producers in in Black Compass. We use the data team to get some statistics and such, and really just try to highlight like how much volume people are doing. And there's, we have some really really great agents within our organization.
okay, that's really good. And yeah, I love the way you brought it back to the statistics, that it is in line. So how does Black at Compass affect the broader company culture? How are you impacting, the Compass
Mhm.
company culture? How do you feel that you're making an impact there?
Um, I think we are, by giving a space for some of our agents who don't feel like they're seen or feel very isolated. We're doing something that allows them to kind of like really still part of a family within Compass. Because like a lot of the agents, one, they didn't realize there was that many Black agents at Compass. Because where they are in their offices, they might be one of one or one of
Right.
2 or something like that. And so we're just doing what we can to really build a culture within the company that I'm thankful that we're allowed to do this within the company, because that wasn't what I expected when it came to like a corporate kind of environment. Um, like the amount of stuff, the amount of backing that we've gotten to be able to do some of the things that we have, like the 2 day summit, has been really incredible. That it's been.
But don't you think Compass is good like that as a company anyway? They're always encouraging their staff and agents to create these affinity groups, whatever they may be.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would expect Robert to support this even
Mhm.
more than others, right? So I think Compass have a very good culture anyway of, you know, helping people connect within the company.
Yes, that's one of the best parts about being at Compass, is the fact that everyone is able to be reached. Like, I've reached out to Robert and his chief of staff directly to schedule him for things, and he responds. We've reached out to different leadership, when we need just to just the fact that everyone is able to respond. Um, it doesn't have that feeling of like, like super superiority or anything like that. So everyone's
Hierarchy. Yeah.
feel approachable, and so that's it's really what's kind of allowed us to go. But we also just been consistent, just consistently trying to do things and trying to improve. Like I said, our newsletter has grown. Um, all of our events have grown. Like last year, we did a happy hour at the retreat. I was like 150 people there. The previous retreat, there was maybe in Atlanta, there was like maybe like 75, 80. Robert even mentioned like the first Black Compass event, I think was in the Austin retreat. It was like maybe 30 people.
Wow.
So it's kind of like we've just kind of been growing, 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 and trying to build upon that and just keep the momentum going. And like I said, just staying consistent, allowing people the access to others that look like them that might have shared experiences so that they can continue to grow.
No, this is great. And you mentioned some really great events there, but what's your most memorable moment in Black Compass? What's your, when you go, oh, this is my favorite, this was awesome.
Um, the summit is probably that's the most recent one. Like I said, that was 2 days of stuff that we put together, and we ran into some to some trouble with like the catering and all this kind of stuff. But like that was the biggest thing that we've done. Um, I know like afterwards, like Ashley and I, when everyone's like left and stuff, we just kind of like sit down and just like kind of like we just did it kind of
Yeah,
type of moment.
pinch yourselves.
Yeah, I had that same feeling last year after we did the happy hour too in San Diego. It was just like one of those moments, like it came all together. It didn't go quite as planned. We ended up having to be inside because the one night that it rained in San Diego was the night that we were supposed to be on the pool deck. But everyone still had a great time. Everyone still loved it. Of course, there's things that we can grow from. There's things that we can make better and improve from. But with what we did and the budget that we had and the sponsorship that we were able to raise, we did some really amazing things.
That's really, really fantastic. And how would other employees support the Black at Compass initiatives? How would you ask other employees to get involved or support what you're doing?
Yeah, like we've have like marketing advisors that create some of our collateral for us. We've worked with like some of the sales managers to get just more people involved, finding out more people to kind of connect with. One of the things that we want to work on this year is more like allyship and getting more people involved who aren't, necessarily who aren't
Yeah, yeah.
Black, and just trying to help build those relationships. One of the things that I want to do is try to like encourage more of the other affinity groups, like Latinx at Compass, or Moms at Compass, Jews at Compass, or any of the different groups, to kind of do some of the similar things so that they can be as impactful and as consistent as we are what we've been doing, because that has been what has driven us to our success, is the consistency of it all.
Yeah, I
Um,
was going to say that to you. What would your advice be to the other unrepresentative individuals? But more than just those in Compass, Teniko, what about in other companies? What would your advice be to them?
my advice would be just to do it because you want to, not because it's a dollar amount attached to it. Because if you're doing it out of love, like I just love seeing people like me to get together. I went to HBCU and I moved to California, and like it was a completely different experience. But what I've found is that, especially at least for Black people and probably other people as well, is that when you get into these spaces where you're the minority,
Hmm.
you often seek out other Black people. Like those are the people that you're going to try to hang around with most of the time. And so just like, or if you're Spanish, you're going to probably hang out with someone else who speaks
Yeah.
Spanish. That's just kind of who you are because you have some kind of shared experience. And so my advice would be to like, if you have a shared experience that you feel like you can share with someone else, do it, stay consistent with it. Don't do it strictly for monetary reasons, like, oh, this is going to build a business or like whatever. Just do it just because um, people just love to be together. I've read a couple books like Tribes and the Purple Cow and stuff like that, where it kind of talks about, just creating that unique experience. and how people like to be tribal and like to be together, put together in groups. And so, yeah, whatever it is that you do, whether you're at a company or you're writing a blog, and just be consistent and continue doing it, and that is what will, will drive success.
Yeah, carry it forward. Do it with heart and it'll carry
Mhm.
it forward. So you mentioned earlier about previous compasses, and I know you're going to be at this compass retreat in Charleston.
Yeah.
And I know this because I'm so excited because I only live down the road. So it'll be, yeah, I get to see you. So
Mhm.
tell me about what you're doing in Compass in Charleston and how people can get involved.
Yeah. So this year, the retreat is a little bit different format than last year, than previous ones. So we didn't have a lot of time, but we're going to be doing a lunch and learn in Charleston on the Tuesday, November 12th. And it's going to be at the Elevate restaurant. And so we have a keynote speaker that we've identified. It's a really great agent here out of Charlotte. Um, and we're going to be doing that event. I'll actually also be speaking on one of the panels at the retreat, um, which is, to me, is a big honor because of what we've been able to do with this affinity group. And again, it's going to be giving advice and giving takeaways in terms of what other people can do to build their own. We have a lot of affinity groups within Compass, and they're all doing, doing amazing things. And we wanted to see all of them grow to having things like their own summits, or maybe we do like an affinity group summit where we all come together and
Oh,
uh,
that's a great idea.
collaborate. So we're definitely trying to work with across the board and across extend our hands to everyone. Um, I don't look at anything as competition. I want to collaborate as much as possible. And
I
so,
I anybody watching this, I can actually confirm that Taniko is one of the most giving and most caring and always, always there to helping others, like nonstop. I've never, as an employee, when I first joined Compass, I think I would have been lost without Tanika. I mean, 100 times a day. Tanika, why is this happening? Tanika, what's this? But you never ever got frustrated. You never said no. You're just one of these people who like to help other people. And that's going to bring me round to my last question because you actually have your own YouTube channel. What drives you? Subscribe to Tanika's channel. What drives you? Now, what inspired you? For those who don't know what drives you is, you can give them a little background information. But I also want to know what inspired you to start it, and how it's going.
yeah. So my channel is called "What Drives You" because I like to interview people about what motivates and what challenges them. Um, and the kind of thought process behind it, I had always had this idea of like trying to shoot a YouTube or be on YouTube and do stuff. When we used to do the Career Growth Friday calls, and I was interviewing different people, like I interviewed Robert, I interviewed his wife, Rob Lehman, and we interviewed all these people. I realized that I kind of have a gift for being able to ask people questions and getting them to kind of open up and just feel relaxed enough to talk to me. So I was like, well, how can I do this? Because I'm just a curious person. I like to be interested in different people. So I don't really I don't. It's not like I'm doing it for myself or anything. I just like to. I'm curious about people and I like to ask questions. Now the reason why I call it "What Drives You" because I like to ask these questions while in my car. What I one of the things that kind of inspired it is that I drove from California back to Charlotte and when I moved here. And I had a
Yeah,
buddy of mine. He likes to drive too, so he flew from Seattle. He met me in Denver, and then from Denver we both drove here to North Carolina. He's
that's
from North
great.
Carolina, so he was coming to visit family and stuff like that. But it was just a great time. And so for the 14 or the 24 hours that we were driving, uh, we were just having conversation, and it was just conversation just kind of flows when you're driving and stuff like that. So to me, it's just natural, and I thought it was interesting. I did some research. Like you had comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yeah,
Um, that was a great series. There's been a couple other "What Drives You"
yeah,
series, but they were all like 10, 15 years old. And so I was like, well, there's opportunity here for it. Um, I like shooting. I like driving around, being in my car. And so that's kind of where it got kind of started and inspired. Um, I'm working on the consistency part. That's been my challenge, but I'm still growing and still improving, trying to figure out different ways to improve. I've had to like change the mics and change the camera and change a bunch of different things to really make it work. But we're getting there, and I have a lot of content that I need to edit. That's been the challenging part, has been editing. But yeah, it's just coming along and stuff that I really enjoy working on.
Oh, the good thing about mine is I don't edit them. This goes out live. So we're all good. Well, Teniko, thank you so much. And for those who want to catch some of Teniko's recordings, if you do look on YouTube, it is What Drives You. And there's some great interviews in there. I've caught a few and they are great. Teniko, thank you so much. I'm really excited about seeing you next week.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll catch up in Charleston. Maybe do a quick video for everybody there.
Maybe do it in person. There's an agent there that has a similar series, and I talked to him. I was like, maybe we should do an episode when we're in Charleston. Like we can drive around and we
Yeah,
can.
that's a great idea. Oh, Charleston's beautiful. You're going to love it.
Mhm.
Really nice. Well, anyway, thank you so much. And I'll see you in person next week.
See you next week. Have a great
Take
day.
care. Bye bye.